agreeing to come on.
Thanks for inviting me.
Yeah, no
Yeah.
problem.
I got my
Um,
dinosaur shirt on, so I'm
Oh,
ready
there
to
you go.
go.
Yeah, yeah, you got a couple different dinos on there. There you go.
I have dinosaur like lounge pants on, but I'm not going to stand up and show those. That's a little weird.
Ah,
Uh,
dang. Yeah, that's okay, I guess.
but it's like a dinosaur on a surfboard and a couple other things. But yeah, um, so we had this idea because our last question for like the past what 6 7 months, Jess,
Something like that.
something like that, has always been like, hey, what's your favorite dinosaur? Like we ask all our guests that, and we get one of two responses. We either get somebody who's super amped and excited that somebody just asked them that question, or you have the person who is struggling to even name one dinosaur.
Oh man. Yeah,
Uh,
I feel that. I'll ask people that question because I work at the Lego store for like pay the bills while I'm at school. Um, and I'll ask them what their favorite dinosaur is, and yeah, some people like don't know what to say, and I'm like, dude, it's just a dinosaur, man.
Like you can be cliche. You can just say a T-Rex.
Yeah, everyone loves the classics. That's okay.
yeah. See, now I got to get Link down here. He's got the same Godzilla poster Link's got in his room.
I mean, yeah, I mean,
Heck
he
yeah.
caused the Great Wave, of course.
Yeah,
I'm
my
a heavy Godzilla fan. What are you gonna say?
yeah, my 5-year-old, he's going on 6, obsessed with monster movies.
I
It's
mean, they're
just
awesome.
insane.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, so first things first, if you could introduce yourself to our listeners and give us a quick background of how you got into paleontology.
Yeah. Well, I'm Joseph Deckhut. I guess that's my full name. But everyone just calls me Joe. Um, let's see. I I just wrapped up my master's degree and going on for a PhD in the fall, so that'll be fun. Yay. But yeah, I didn't go straight into paleo. I mean, I've always liked dinosaurs, and I've also always liked Godzilla. And I think like I don't know for sure if it's like I got into dinosaurs because I like Godzilla, or if I got into Godzilla because I like dinosaurs. But I wasn't exactly sure what I wanted to do when I first started college. So when I first started, I actually applied for what's it called, software engineering, because I also love video games, like how you guys said, I'm a gamer. Um, but then there was a lot of math involved with that, a lot of like coding, and I was like, I don't want to learn how to code like that. That sounds really tough. And I also don't want to make my favorite hobby like a job, because then I probably won't enjoy it anymore. So before I got to the school, which was Arizona State University, I switched my major to journalism and did that for one semester, but I wasn't quite enjoying it. Um, so I wanted to switch my major. But Arizona ASU was really expensive, especially as an out-of-state student, because I'm from New Jersey. Um, so since I didn't know what I wanted to do, I decided to go back home to Jersey and go to community college, to like get a better feel of what I want. And so when I started there, I started as a theater major because I also enjoy talking, or like I just I've always like wanted to be like, oh, like it'd be awesome if I was in the movie or whatever, than just like watching it. Um, but I was like, man, I wasn't born into it. I don't have a family that's like in Hollywood or anything. It's like chances are, unless I get really lucky, I'm gonna be a waiter bartender, and I don't want that. So I took a psychology class to see if I liked it, because a lot of people in my family said that they thought I would be a good psychologist. So I took a psychology class, did not like the psychology part of it, but they also talked about anatomy in it, and I was enjoying the anatomy part. And I was like, okay, well, I'm liking anatomy. I know I've always liked dinosaurs, so maybe I'd like dinosaur anatomy, right? So I took the only geology class that the community college had, geared it towards paleontology, and I loved it. It didn't really feel like I was taking a class and doing work. It more just felt like, like how you go out of your way to like learn something on a YouTube video or something. It just felt kind of like that. So I was like, okay, great. I'll do paleo. Well, that was the only geology class that the community college had, though. So I did biology stuff for my associate's degree. When I finished that, I transferred to Rowan University in South New Jersey, and there I got my bachelor's degree in geology with a concentration in paleontology. And with some of the research that I did there, I presented at a conference called the Society of Vertebrate Paleontology. So it's, the Vertebrate Paleontology Professional Conference. And while I was there presenting, I met my advisor for my master's degree. Essentially, he came up to my poster. I came up to his poster too. And the conversation wound up being like, oh, like, what are you looking to do? And I was like, well, I'm finishing my bachelor's, so I'm looking for a master's program. And he was like, oh, well, like, you're doing bird stuff. He was like, I have a bird for you to work on and do a master's program. And I was like, cool. So then I took it, and I just wrapped that up. And that's a master's at Eastern Washington University. So that's Washington State. So I moved coast to coast, essentially.
You moved around a lot.
Yeah, I've done a lot of moving, but it's fun. That's what I like, because I like traveling. I like being a tourist, right? So the end goal is to be a professor, because then, like, during the school year, I could do my research, I could teach and do those parts that I love. But then over the summer, I could do field work and also use that as an excuse to travel and go to different places.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess the not so brief, but yeah.
I mean, it's not so brief because you had like a very long path to get to where you are now. So, I mean,
Yeah,
it is
very
what it
windy
is, right?
road. Yeah, one foot in front of the other, right? But yeah, it's had ups, it's had downs, but I enjoy it. It's fun.
Right. Yeah, we found you on Instagram because, well, I found you, I think. I was like just searching paleontologist and then like punk or emo or whatever. I don't remember what I searched. And I was like, oh, well, pop punk paleontologist sounds like it's someone right up our alley.
Yeah. No, I've I've always listened to rock music, so I was like, okay, how do I combine like the two biggest things that I kind of enjoy, besides not taking into account video games? And I was like, pop punk paleontologist. Like, I listen to pop punk music, and it rolls off the tongue, and it has like a good ring to it. But yeah, I mean, given if I had the chance to be in a band, like, that'd be awesome. But like, I don't know how to play an instrument, and like my singing voice, is probably good, like 6, 7 out of 10, which I feel like is probably all you need for rock music. I'm not gonna lie, there's some pretty big bands that don't have great singers, but like, they're enjoyable, and that's what matters.
Right. Yeah, sometimes, And I gotta know though, since you are the pop punk paleontologist, you gotta have some favorite bands. Like, who are your top 5 favorite bands or
Oh,
musicians?
yes. I mean, after like the first couple of starts, like, getting hard to like order them, but my favorite band is 3 Days Grace. That's definitely my old time favorite band, and that's probably one. There's no song that they've made that I don't necessarily like. And they're also kind of the first band that I've found on my own. Like, besides like, I really like Linkin Park too, but like, my dad showed me Linkin Park, right? So 3 Days Grace was like the first band I found on my own. But yeah, 3 Days Grace is definitely number one. Um, Number two, Sum 41 is up there. I really like Sum 41 a lot. I'm actually wearing a Sum 41 t-shirt. It just the camera doesn't
I was
let you
gonna
see
say
it.
I thought I saw a 41 and I think he's wearing some 41.
Yeah, it's from their because I went to their last tour because it's last one before they
Hmm.
retired. And I never got to see them before that. It's like I have to make sure I see them. So yeah, it's this shirt from their tour. Um, but I also love The Offspring, Angels and Airwaves. I love Blink 182, but I kind of like Angels more. Um, and because it's Tom DeLonge, he's in both bands, but I kind of just like what they sing about more, like the whole like love, I guess, right? Um, but also I've been branching out because of my friends to like more like harder music too. So I've now like I also like Motionless in White and
Hmm.
like Make Them Suffer, Spirit Box, um, all those two, and then yeah, a band that I like that doesn't make music anymore, and I don't think many people know of, at least not by name, but Trust Company.
Hmm.
Yeah, I love them. I was like, I actually found the way I found them was I was playing. It was like when I was a kid, I had this like one of those MX Unleashed games or whatever, where it's like you drive the dirt bikes and plays rock
Hmm.
music, and they were one of the bands on the game. And then when I went back in like high school and like listened to the soundtrack of the game again, I found them again. I was like, oh my god, I love them. And then I found out that they're not a band anymore. I was like, that sucks.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's I found a bunch like that. I found there was a game, I think it was on like the PS1 called Aggressive Inline. So it was like an
Mhm.
inline skating game, and they had Student Rick on there. If you remember Student
Okay.
Rick, Jess.
I remember the name. I don't know if I ever got into them. But I mean, I got into Goldfinger from Tony Hawk
Tony
Pro
Hawk.
Skater 1.
Yeah.
It's always those old like sport games, right? Where it's like it's not like baseball, but like yeah, inline skating,
Oh
skateboard.
yeah. The games back in the day definitely had like great soundtracks.
Yeah, I miss them. Oh my god, the old WWE games. Oh, I used to watch WWE so much as a kid. They
Yeah,
had
but it
3D
was probably
displays.
WWF then.
Yeah, oh yeah, back back when you couldn't tell if you were watching wrestling or like
The World
oh
Wildlife
yeah.
Foundation, apparently.
Yeah, or the animal commercial. Yeah, who would have thought?
It's kind of funny though. I think the Wildlife Foundation just didn't want to be associated with wrestling, so they just were like, "No, you can't use that acronym."
Yeah, but like bears wrestle.
Yeah,
Like
they probably used that as a an argument.
yeah, this is why we should keep our name this way. Bears wrestle too. Don't forget the bears.
Yeah, so you mentioned like going to some 41. Do you go to shows a lot?
Uh, no, not as much as I'd like to, and most of that stems from like I I don't like taking the chance on a band that I don't know, right? So it's like I don't go to a lot of concerts of like if I don't know the band, I don't go to them. But then it's like the bands that I do like, the tickets are so expensive.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, I can only afford to go like a couple a year, or not even a couple a year. I really go to like one a year. Um, but yeah, because it's also like Corn, like, and their
Hmm.
tickets can be pretty expensive. I'm planning on seeing 3 Days Grace again, and they're touring with Breaking Benjamin, and now Adam is back, and like
Hmm.
so I plan on seeing them in September, but I haven't bought the tickets yet. And like, will I buy the tickets? I mean, fingers crossed, but like, I don't know.
Don't they have payment plans now, Chris, for
Yeah.
tickets?
I do that on like 80% of the tickets I purchase, which
Yeah,
defeats the purpose because then I have like,
A bazillion payments
30,
to
30,
make?
$37 coming out of my account like every day.
yeah, that's the thing. Like, I feel like if I did a payment plan, I would totally forget that I started that payment plan, and I'd be
Oh,
like,
they auto draft it. They don't play. They auto draft those.
Oh yeah, then I'll that's how I overdraft.
Yeah.
um but yeah, I definitely want to see 3 Days Grace. And otherwise, yeah, Sum 41 was the last concert I went to, and then before that it was Angels and Airwaves,
Yeah.
which I'm so glad I got to see them before Tom went back into Blink, right? Because now I don't know when Angels is ever gonna do something again, because now he's in Blink again. So
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, Blink is hot again, so I mean,
yeah, I
could
mean I
be a
like
while.
them. Don't get me wrong, like I like Blink and I want to see them. I'm
But
just
you don't
glad
want
I
to,
saw
I don't want to
Angels.
pay $600 for a Blink 182 ticket.
No.
Not for a nosebleed seat, at least.
Yeah, it's crazy. The nosebleed seats will be like 600.
Yeah.
Like, as get my binoculars out. Yeah, it was really worth the money. uh, I'd rather just watch it on TV at that point. At least I
Right?
get the close-ups.
It's true. It's true. And you know, a lot of those like stadium tours, they have like screens and stuff you can watch, but it's still not that close, you
Yeah,
know?
and it's like, what's the point of going if I'm gonna watch it on a TV anyway?
Exactly. I'm like,
Like,
I probably won't go to any stadium tours.
that's fair. Or at least if you are, you gotta like get into like where the mosh pits happen, I guess, or like
Yeah.
not necessarily in the mosh pit, but just in that like general area.
But those are the expensive tickets. Even GA is expensive.
They are. I lucked out on the Sum 41 concert because I like just bought like a normal like general admission whatever ticket, and it was in like this big. It was in like some type of stadium, and like there were like the like stadium seatings and all that. But I was one of the first people on the line, so like I just kind of like walked in and walked on the floor, and I was like two people behind from wherever like the gate is with the stage and everything. So like no one checked. So I just walked over there and did it. I was like, all right, cool.
Well, I guess as long as you
Um,
don't leave the area and have to go to the bathroom or something, you're safe.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Use the bathroom before. Um, don't leave your spot to take shots, as tough as that is. Um, but it was worth it.
Well, let's get into some dinosaur or paleontology questions, whichever we discuss, right, Chris?
Eh,
Yeah.
yeah. Well,
You
I'm
take
all
the
good for whatever.
Yeah, you take that first one, Jess.
Me? Me?
Yeah. Yeah. Otherwise we have to change our complete predicted order.
Predicted order. So, how do paleontologists know they have found a new dinosaur as opposed to a deformed fossil that may be reshaped over time via pressure, climate impacts, and other variables, or is it is reshaping unlikely or impossible?
No, reshaping, is very easy to happen. You always have to be careful for like bones. Yeah, like the bones go underground, right? And that means they can be exposed to like heat and pressure, right? Just like when a rock goes underground, it goes through some type of metamorphism. Um, Now, because there's even some fossils that go through a little bit of metamorphism. Like there's trilobites that you could find in metamorphic rocks, even though you typically only find fossils in sedimentary rocks, which sedimentary rocks are like your rocks that are generally from other rocks getting weathered, right, and cemented together. And then your metamorphic rocks are like if any rock goes underground and then gets like melted and recrystallized, that's a metamorphic rock. Um, so yeah, you always have to be careful of whether like, oh, like is the bone actually supposed to be this flat, or like did the taphonomic processes cause that? And taphonomic processes, or taphonomy, is essentially like anything that happens to the animal from death till discovery, right? So it could be the animal's dead and it could get scavenged, and that's a part of taphonomy. It could be it gets buried, but then other natural processes cause it to be unburied, right? And then it gets buried again. So that exposes it to like weathering and erosion and all that type of stuff, all things that could kind of sort of start to break the fossil more. And because of those processes, you like very rarely, if ever, get those perfect skeletons that you see in Jurassic Park, right? It's like, oh, it's all here, it's all where it should be, everything's
Oh yeah.
there. Yeah, that doesn't usually happen. You get some bones, and they're usually all disarticulated or like not in their original like place. Um, so it does get pretty hard to suss those things out. Um, but a good way would be if you're lucky enough where it's a type of dinosaur or animal where you have multiple specimens of them instead of like, oh, this is the only one of this animal. You can kind of start to tell what is flattened and what is supposed to be, right? Because you'll have like your outliers where it's like, oh, this thing was squished, but then it'll be like, oh, but like these ones are all in like a sort of normal bone proportion, right? So like knowing anatomy is a important aspect, but also knowing different things that can affect the bones is crucial as well. Um, like like uh like a bite mark on a bone, right? It could either be a pathology or a taphonomy depending on if it happened when the animal was alive or when the animal like after it died, right? Um, so for that, you would look for signs of healing, right? If there's signs of healing, then the animal was still alive when it got bit, so that's a pathology. But if it's a bite mark and it's just broken, right, like something was just eating it, then that would be a taphonomy. Um, does that kind of answer your question, or
Yeah,
did I
yeah, I
get
would.
I think so.
sidetracked?
I think
No,
so.
I would say that answers. I do have. Are there any examples of like where, and not necessarily related just to dinosaurs, where maybe a paleontologist believed that they had found something new and it got enough traction within the community, and then later on it was like, oh, whoa, 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 just kidding. What we actually found was this, and it wasn't something new.
Mm. Yeah, stuff like that happens pretty frequently, especially because in the early days of paleontology, there was a lot of. So there were two paleontologists, uh, Othniel Charles Marsh and Edward Drinker Cope, and these two paleontologists had this really big rivalry of like essentially who could name the most, right? So especially dinosaurs ended up getting sort of just like named for the sake of being named, just so that they could be like, "Oh, I named one more than you did," instead of like this is actually a different animal. So there's definitely a lot of that's come out, and slowly but surely, like we suss it out with our newer studies, and it's just a matter of like when we get to that dinosaur, when we do the study on that dinosaur, we'll know where it fits more. But yeah, that's happened. Like there's a big debate whether Torosaurus is its own thing or if it's Triceratops. Um, because there's ontogenetic studies, so like growth series studies of Triceratops, looking at like juvenile, like teenage, subadult, adult forms, and looking at their bone histology and like thin sections. So like how the bone is essentially how the interior of the bone looks, right? Because you could tell like what part of growth it's at, if it's still growing or if it's done growing, and how fast it grows. And so those ontogenetic studies are suggesting that Torosaurus is just the more adult Triceratops. Um, but then I've also heard from other paleontologists that like study like that actually study ceratopsians. So like that's the thing. Like I know a little bit about the other stuff, but like I'm not a ceratopsian expert, but
Hmm.
I was told that there have been Torosaurus specimens that have been smaller than Triceratops specimens, and that was like part of the argument for why Torosaurus was Triceratops, was that you don't find smaller Torosaurus, right? Um, but apparently you do. So a lot of this stuff gets heavily debated. I mean, even what was it, Brontosaurus? Like there was a while where like Brontosaurus wasn't a dinosaur anymore, and it was like, oh, this
Hmm.
is just a Patasaurus. But then now, so originally they were separate, and then they said no, they're not, and now another study came out and said yes, they are. So uh, sometimes it really flip flops. But one that is more definitive is your pachycephalosaurs, your ones that have the headbutting bump heads, um, where you have your Pachycephalosaurus, and then there were two others. There were Stygimoloch and Dracorex, and they were all thought to have been their own separate dinosaurs. But then again, an ontogenetic like histology study found that it's just Dracorex is like the child version, and Stygimoloch is like the subadult version, and then Pachycephalosaurus is the full-grown adult version, and it's just their skull changes over time, um, just like how other animals can sometimes look wildly different as they grow, like a tadpole to a frog.
Hmm.
Um, so yeah, and Spinosaurus also is, I mean, I love Spinosaurus, but they can never decide what they want it to look like. Um,
You're talking about the headbutting dinosaur, and then you're talking about like pretty much kind of like an evolution. I'm thinking of Pokemon.
yeah, it's
Because they
kind
have
of. I
that
mean,
one dinosaur and he evolves and all this, and I'm like, oh my gosh, that one dinosaur in Pokemon.
yeah, I mean, I guess like evolve might be the wrong word because evolve is change over time. But you know,
Grow.
as it grows, its body changes, right? But I mean, funny enough, my favorite Pokemon is the Rampardos, the one based off of the bumpy head
Yeah.
dinosaurs. It's a shiny version because that's the red one, and
Yeah, you gotta have the
red's the
shiny
best
one.
color. Yeah,
The best color. Well, your hair's kind of red.
yeah. It's starting to fade out, but yeah, I got it dyed for graduation.
Now
Um,
I was gonna jump in too. You were talking about like when we were talking about how stuff like might, under pressure change like fossils and deformities and stuff. And I actually just visited the Field Museum in Chicago not that long ago with my
oh,
husband,
nice.
and we went and saw Sue the T-Rex.
Mm.
And we saw her head, and I'm like, there was a lot of deformities in that. Like she's been like crushed and all this stuff.
Yeah, there's a lot that goes on with T Rex, and T Rex. We get so many of them, and they're so popular that there's so many studies on T Rex, and
Right.
so they actually they have a lot of marks on their face, and a lot of that, not all of it, but a lot of it is just due to them fighting each other.
Mm-hmm.
It's thought that T Rex was kind of cannibalistic, and they have a lot of bite marks on their face that are in the shape of a T Rex tooth, or would have been gouged out by a T Rex tooth. Um, so yeah, they would have been fighting. They're ferocious. They just want their meal, man. Can't blame them, but
It's true.
that's they don't really have the arms to do the fighting as
Nope.
much, so
They got
they
those
got to
little
bite.
arms. Got
But hey,
those little
strongest bite
arms.
force, so it worked out for him.
I guess.
Yeah.
Now, it's frequently said that the cataclysmic event that killed off the non-avian dinosaurs was massive and impacted the whole globe. Now, I know birds survived and that they're theoretically classified, well, not even theoretically, they are classified as theropods. So most people will think of like pterosaurs as avian dinosaurs, but they weren't even dinosaurs. So just to clarify for everybody, what exactly survived here?
Like what survived the extinction?
Yeah.
Let's see. You get birds, right? Your avian dinosaurs, like how you said. That's why we make that extinction now. It's not all dinosaurs went extinct. It's just all non-avian dinosaurs went extinct. Um, but yeah, we lost the pterosaurs. We lost all the marine reptiles. Sharks did really well. Um, Crocodilians lived through. Mammals lived through, but mammals at that time were like small, like rat-like things. Um, let's see, a lot of the sea creatures, like your ammonites died, right? So the only thing that you have that's like kind of looks like an ammonite now is the nautilus, and those live through, right? And yeah, there's a lot of interesting questions of like why did the ammonites go extinct, right? But the nautilus didn't, like, but why, right? Or even with birds, like why did our modern birds live, but then there were like these super specialized toothed birds like right before the extinction that didn't live through, and there were also birds called enantiornithes or opposite birds, and they all died right at the extinction event. So it's like, why did the modern bird type live, but all these other ones didn't, right? And like, why did marine reptiles die out, right? But sharks thrived. Um, so there's a lot of questions that are kind of needing sussing out there. Um, but yeah, your the ones that would have lived would be your mammals, your lizards, your snakes, your amphibians, your crocs, birds, obviously fish. Fish ain't going anywhere. Uh,
Definitely
Sharks,
not. I mean,
yeah,
we got sturgeon because I live in Wisconsin and we got sturgeon in Lake Michigan and stuff. And I'm like, those are pretty prehistoric fish.
oh my god, yeah, some of them look crazy. Oh, but like, yeah, no matter how much sushi I eat, I'm never the fish will always be here.
And
But yeah,
sturgeon
no,
feel pretty much like a shark, I think, too. Because
yeah,
I
they're
pet one.
wild.
I pet one and they're like they got rough skin.
Yeah,
Not
like
like
I
not
don't.
like your slimy fish.
Yeah, very like same thing with sharks. They have a very I don't theirs is because their scales are, I guess their scales are just kind of like sandpaper. It's kind
Mm-hmm.
of weird, you know. Yeah, like not your slimy scale. Like
They're different.
I'm not a fish expert, but like they look wild. Like
They are. They
I
are
mean,
wild
eels are
fish.
crazy. You get anglerfish. Oh my god.
Oh, don't even get me started. That's like Finding Nemo. It's like, oh,
Uh huh. Yeah, you will not give. Man, I think I'm okay with not going that deep into the
yep.
ocean at
You don't
all.
want to be like, oh, what's that pretty light? Good feeling gone.
Yeah, yeah. Wow. Oh wow.
About to get eaten. And then everyone was talking about that anglerfish that was like surfacing, but it was just
Oh
dying.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Because it's not their habitat, right? It's like the
Mm-mm.
same idea of like people are like, oh, megalodon just like went down into the trenches. It's like that's a his
Oh
body
yeah, yeah. I
cannot
remember
survive
there was
those
a thing.
depths.
Didn't I talk about this once, Chris, about like the sixth or the is it like the eighth ocean or something like that?
I think so.
Or
A,
something like
a
that.
while
People have been
ago.
talking about that, how like there's an ocean within the center of the earth
Oh,
that
this is go with Hollow Earth.
all these dinosaurs, these like amphibious dinosaurs are living in there. Like megalodons in there. And I'm just like,
But
they're like, why is it when you go into the ocean that it's like gets colder and not hot? Warmer because of the magma center of the earth. And I'm
yeah,
like,
no.
all right, conspiracy people.
Well, no, I mean, we all know that 100% factually Godzilla lives in Hollow Earth, right? And so does King Kong. So it's all 100% true.
So why not a
Megalodon followed him.
megalodon down there?
Yeah. Yeah, giant octopus, the Kraken, that's probably down there, right?
It's
Um,
true. It's true.
but yeah, I always enjoy those Hollow Earth theories because they're just interesting. I also enjoy like whenever I find out someone's like a flat earther, like I don't argue with them, but like I just like hearing what they have to say because I just find it interesting. Of like, why do you think why
Yeah, what goes through your
do you
mind
think
that you
like
think
that?
the Earth is flat when there's like physical, like visual proof that the Earth is round?
Yeah, yeah. And then I'm like, okay, and like, where did you find out about this? And they're like, YouTube. And I'm like, ah, cool.
That explains it, right?
Yeah, I'm like YouTube knows all.
They're just one of those people that believe everything they see on the internet.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
then once they click one video, the algorithm just feeds them more, and there they
And
yeah.
then
It's
are.
like, oh, you
they're
like this?
stuck.
You'll give us that ad revenue with this? Cool. Yeah.
Yeah. Now I am curious though. So if the massive event that we talked about earlier never took place, do you think dinosaurs would have become extinct eventually, or would they have evolved and, natural
Hmm.
selection have eventually gotten the better of them?
Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting thought question, right? Because like there is sort of evidence that dinosaurs were starting to like kind of decline, um just slowly, right? And then it was like the mix of like the asteroid impact and all the volcanism going on and all the other factors that was this, not necessarily the straw, but like the giant branch that broke the camel's back. um but yeah, no, if that never happened, like, I mean, obviously we'd still have birds, right? Because we still have birds today. So dinosaurs would not have gone completely extinct. But in terms of like all the non-avian ones, I mean, yeah, they would have looked a lot different. Because they would have had a whole other 66 million years to evolve. Now, it's also possible that if the dinosaurs didn't go extinct, that we wouldn't be here, right?
Hmm.
Because when they were thriving, uh, the mammals were just like little rat-like things, right? And they couldn't get into those bigger niche spaces, right, where they're like the top predators, because those were filled by dinosaurs. Um, so I don't think we necessarily would have been here, or at least it would have taken us a lot longer of a time to actually get around to being an animal on Earth. But mammals would mammals would still be a thing. You still get your smaller ones, maybe even medium-sized ones after a certain point. Um, and I also there's like this sort of like theory that I really like as an idea, that trodons, that they would have become like what a human is, right? Like the intelligent life form, because I guess they have the biggest brain to body mass ratio of any dinosaur. Um, Whereas like Stegosaurus is thought to be the dumbest dinosaur because it has the smallest brain to body mass ratio. Um, but yeah, I would probably say that dinosaurs would be doing just fine if all those outside factors didn't make them go extinct. Um, and I don't know, maybe I would be able to be a Trodon instead of what I am. That'd be pretty cool.
Never know. We
I
all
could
could
dye my
be.
feathers. Yeah, dye
Sounds
my
way
feathers
cooler.
red. um, yeah, yeah.
Now, I do like to say that I own a dinosaur, but really I own a couple of Bashirs. So I know that some fish, and of course, like Crocodiliae, kind of have remained relatively unchanged. Are there any others that pretty much remained unchanged since then?
Let's see. Yeah, so like you said, the crocodiliforms are pretty unchanged. Sharks have remained pretty unchanged over time. Horseshoe crabs are a big example. They Whatever change they had is like so. non-visible that it's like if you look at a fossil horseshoe crab from like I don't know 100 million years ago or something, and you look at one from today, it's like yeah, that's a horseshoe crab. Like like I could tell. I mean, and anyone can tell. Let's see what else hasn't really changed. I mean, I guess in a sense, bugs aside from like in the Carboniferous, yeah, it was Carboniferous when they were like huge, right? But even then, like even though they were a lot bigger, like a dragonfly still looked like a dragonfly, right? And a scorpion still kind of looked like a scorpion. Are there any others? There is a more recent living fossil where uh, I don't know. I don't remember when they exactly thought it went extinct, but coelacanths, yeah, yeah, coelacanths, where they like we thought they were extinct, and then it was like I think less than 100 years ago or something. Like we just found one swimming in the water. It was like, oh, wait, no, it wasn't swimming in the water. Someone found it at a fish market. Yeah, and they're like, wait, I know what that is. That's how did you find that? Like that should be dead. And they're like, well, we caught it. We caught it. Like, and that's how we found out the coelacanths are still around. They just live in like areas of the ocean that we don't really look in, like more of those like underwater cave areas. It's like we don't usually go in there, so you can't find them if you don't look in the places where they are, right?
Yeah. I feel like
Um,
there's been talk of like a dinosaur, well, like a flying dinosaur that still exists like in Australia.
oh well, there's definitely birds in Australia. I can tell
Like
you
people
that.
are
After
like, I know people are like, there's this dinosaur that still exists that they thought was dead. And I'm like, cool. I don't know what one they were talking about. Do
man,
you remember,
I
Chris? Weren't we
No, I
talking
looked it
about
up.
that?
Yeah, we talked about it, but I did look it up and it was all
Just a hoax.
no evidence whatsoever.
No evidence whatsoever.
hey,
Darn.
it's a
Like,
nice thought. I was in Australia last year. I kind of maybe I missed it.
No flying kangaroo.
No no kangaroos. No. They didn't do any like flying like spinning like kicks like real kicks at me or anything. Um, yeah, there were birds there. So like I'll give them that. There were living dinosaurs in Australia. They're kind of partly right.
oh, it was the pterosaur sighting. People were saying that they were seeing pterosaurs.
People said they saw pterosaurs. I get that Australia has some like wacky animals, um, but yeah, not pterosaurs. Those things are dead. Um, I mean, yeah. I
Or
mean,
are they? No, just kidding.
uh, that's the insider paleo secret. I can't let that get out. Secretly housing all the pterosaurs in my closet. Um,
Would they fit?
It's a
uh,
walk-in.
yeah, it is a walk-in.
Uh,
um, but no, I didn't. Maybe because I am going back out to Australia this summer to go digging for more stuff. So who knows? Maybe I'll find this elusive pterosaur out there. That'd be
Maybe.
pretty sick.
If you do, you'll have to come back on and we'll have to talk about it, right?
Yeah, I'll be like, man, it was just crazy. Like everything I knew was a lie.
What
um,
are you gonna
Um,
go? What are you going to Australia to dig up? Just
oh
anything?
yeah. Well, so we're going to a different site than we did last year. The site that we're going to is hasn't really been looked at before. So really, we're going to a spot that we think could be a new site, and we're gonna dig there. Hopefully, find something. And if we do find fossils there, then great. One, that stuff is probably new, so we get to describe it. And two, we would also be doing the stratigraphy then, right? Because having the fossil and knowing about the animal is important, but it's just as or arguably more important to know about what environment it was living in to get a sense of like the whole picture, right?
Right.
Like when you look at a paleo art of a dinosaur, right? it's kind of boring to look at them when it's just like, oh, here's a triceratops with a blank white background. But then it's like, then you have like the paleo art that takes into account the environments. It's like, oh, like you can see the trees that's there. You can see like a couple of the other animals that were around, right? How it lived. You get the full picture. So yeah, if we do end up finding the new site, then we'll have a bunch of new animals to name and describe, and we'll get to figure out the stratigraphy and environment of it too. So that'll be a lot of fun, and it's something new. Um, in terms of age, though, this is like after the dinosaurs. I don't have like an exact age of what we think it would be, or yeah, I don't have an exact age of what we think the site will be, but it would be after the dinosaurs. Last year, we were working at a site that was 25 million years old. That was a time period called the late Oligocene. So it wasn't really like dinosaur stuff, but we found a lot of fish. We found croc, we found turtle, and we actually found a new fish while we were there. So this past year, I've been helping to describe that as well. We don't have a name for it yet. I keep trying to get my friend to come up with it because, you know, he's the one. My best friend is the one who actually discovered the thing. So I'm like, dude, it's been a year. What's the name, man? I want to know the name.
Dude, I had a hard time naming my beta fish. I can only imagine trying to name a fish from like 25 million years ago.
It's definitely a lot of pressure, right? Because like you want a name that's like that's descriptive, right? Because that's the big thing with science, right? Science is descriptive, not creative. But I also like being creative, so it's like when I try to think of a name, it's like, you know, I want something that describes what it's doing or some part of it, but I also want it to like sound cool, you know.
Right.
And that's really the hard part because sometimes when you like, oh, like this word sounds cool, let me see what that word is in Latin, and it's like, oh, now it sounds kind of stupid. But yeah, no, yeah, I'm excited to be back out there.
So do they just get, is it like astronomy where they just get like placeholder names like specimen A12367 or something in the
Mm.
meantime until you come up with a name?
Yeah, so it'll go through a couple different names. So when you first find it in the field, you give it a field number, and that's kind of, you'll be calling it by its field number, or you know, you're in the field and it's like just you guys talking about it, so you just give it some stupid nickname. So like an example would be like 2 summers ago, I was digging in Montana in the Hell Creek Formation, helping to dig out the hip area of a dinosaur called a Montosaurus. And while we were there, like, we called him Marvin just because you're like, yeah, his name's Marvin. I think it was because when we put the jacket over it, it looked like a giant spaceship. So it was like, oh, yeah, like, that's Marvin right there, Marvin's ship. But yeah, so when you're in the field, it'll have his field number for your field notebook, and you know your field book. We usually use Write in the Rain is the brand, and it essentially like you write on it, and it's like it could get wet and like the ink won't go away or anything like that. So it's very handy for the field, and it also works as a legal document. If you know someone's trying to frame you for something, you'd be like, no, I was out in the middle of nowhere digging up bones. But yeah, you put a field number in there, and then you have like your joke name just to reference it, so you're not like, oh yeah, this is like F4220, like. But then when you bring it back, depending on whether the order of how you do things, like if it goes right into a museum's collections, then it's going to get a collection number for that museum, right? So the museum will kind of decide what that number is, and the couple letters in the beginning will be based off of the museum that it's from, right? So Like if it's the University of Washington Burke Museum, the acronym is UWBM, right? And then whatever number after that for a specimen number. Um, so yeah, then it has this collections number, and then that's how like people will know it and know where to look for it. Um, and then if it's something that you have enough material and enough unique descriptive material to actually make this like give it a genus species name, then yeah, then you would like write up the scientific paper, give it its genus species name, and then it's like all specimens with these traits will be this animal, right? But if people want to find specific bones of that animal, because like maybe someone doing a study like only needs the leg bones, right? But they don't need like the ribs or the skull or something. There's those collection numbers to like know which specimens you need and what you're looking for. So there's a whole lot of naming, whole
Yeah.
lot, whole
Wow.
lot of things to call it. But the most fun is giving it the actual name of like I'm calling it the Destroyer-saurus Rex. I don't know.
Now, we also know now that Jurassic Park and so many other movies and media got things wrong, not only about size and visual appearance of them, but also how they sound. For instance, like the Velociraptor being portrayed as a 6 foot tall, smart and clumsy animal. But also how they sounded, if they even sounded at all. Like I've recently heard, it sounded more like a I don't know what to, like a throat sound, not necessarily like a, definitely not a roar is what I've understood. First of all, is it's more like a bird cooing, if you will. However, there are at least a couple. Are there at least a couple dinosaurs that you feel like they've been properly portrayed in Hollywood?
I mean, because at the end of the day, Jurassic Park is a monster movie. It's not there to be accurate, and they get around that by filling in the gaps with the frog DNA and all that. But yeah, I mean, there's some movies where they try to be more accurate than others, um, and it also varies from dinosaur to dinosaur. Like Triceratops, yeah, like Triceratops seems pretty accurate. Uh, the the new Spinosaurus. Have you seen the trailer for the new Jurassic Park coming out? The new Spinosaurus that they have, depending on who you ask, because Spinosaurus, that's a whole that's a whole thing. But depending on who you ask, yeah, that one's portrayed pretty accurately. Aside from like it's working with a mosasaur, for some reason. Also, like Jurassic Park 3, they weren't completely accurate, but like they tried to be more accurate for the velociraptors there in the sense where they started giving them feathers and quills, right? And even in the Jurassic World Dominion, the newest one that came out, where they had Pyroraptor, like they were like, oh, this isn't the velociraptor, right? So like we don't have to stick to this design that the fans know. We could actually make this one look more accurate. So they covered that thing in feathers, right? And that's more like how they would have been. So they do try to have accuracies, and like running speed, they try to keep that accurate. Like at least in the older movies, like when the car, right? And Jeff Goldblum is like sitting in the back with his like shirt off or whatever, and then the T-Rex is chasing him, and they get away because the T-Rex just can't keep up. So yeah, no, they definitely try to have some accuracies with the dinosaurs, and yeah, some dinosaurs are more accurate than others, but
Yeah, okay. I want to go to that scene where Jeff Goldblum is being chased on the back of a Jeep, by Rexy.
Jurassic
At
Park
one,
2, right?
okay. First of all, my wife and I call the T Rex Karen. So
Karen,
so Karen,
she gotta have a different haircut for that.
so they're being chased, and at one point, Karen breaks through a pretty sizable tree and keeps going. How would that have been plausible? Would I mean, I know we're talking tons of
Yeah,
pounds, but I mean that you're talking about bashing through a tree the width of what looked to be like a school bus.
yeah. I mean, if the tree is like dead and rotted, sure, because then trees are like brittle. But yeah, if that tree's still alive, I mean, T Rex ain't
I don't
doing
know.
that.
She was an angry mama.
Yeah, she was an angry concussed mama.
She was in mama mode.
you
That
know, yeah, it's like things like that to like make it scarier, right? For the movie fun aspect, but yeah, like realistically, even if the T-Rex would have been able to like run into the tree and knock it over, it's not just gonna shrug it off like it got, like I just got bit by a mosquito or something, you know. Um, it's definitely gonna make it stop in his tracks for a hot second.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, that always got me. Another one that got me, and then I'll digress on this Jurassic Park thing. Um, now, and did you read Michael Crichton's book of Jurassic Park?
I
Or
own it.
you well, okay. That answers. I got it. So the scene in Jurassic Park 3 where they're going down the river. All right. So they're going down the river. That's actually in the first Jurassic Park book.
Mm,
And what occurs in the book is that they're able to detect the presence of, first of all, the dinosaurs are completely different in the book, but they're able to detect the presence of the carnivores that are hiding because of the smell of their breath. Would that have been something that prey would have been able to detect if a carnivore was trying to be sneaky? Because from what I understand, their breath would have been kind of rancid from just eating raw meat. They don't got a
yeah,
toothbrush.
and yeah, they don't got Colgate, right?
Yeah,
Um, no, yeah, I mean, I don't know. The smell of the breath might be kind of a stretch, but I mean, in the modern day, animals all the time will like adapt to like kind of get away from their predators, right? And it just ends up being this never-ending cycle of like, okay, the prey got this adaptation to survive getting eaten, and now the thing eating it gets this adaptation to get around that. So then the prey makes it even stronger, right? Um, that's why like some of those like super poisonous animals have poison that like is so overkill. It's because it's not like they're worried about me or you going to them and touching them and killing them, even though like if we did it would kill us. They're worried about the thing that's hunting them that keeps sort of adapting to resist that poison, so their poison has to keep getting stronger. So in a sense, yeah, like you could kind of like detect predators in like maybe they could start like recognizing the pheromones they let off, right? Like, oh, like I could pick up this, or maybe like how uh crocodiles can sense vibrations in the water, right? And it's like, how big of a vibration is it? Is it something worth eating? Is it something that you need to get away from? It's sort of like, I would say it's more like that type of thing, but recognizing what it is based off of just this breath, this feels like, I don't want to say it's impossible, right? Because you know anything is kind of possible, but I would say that that's more of a stretch.
Yeah. Now going off that topic that we're talking about, do you think, based on your knowledge or anything, that there's any animals alive today that could have lived alongside dinosaurs?
That could have lived alongside. It's funny how you say it, because I was on YouTube before this. I didn't watch the video yet, but I saw a video where it was like, could bears have survived when the dinosaurs were around? I was like, so I'm probably gonna watch that later. That seems interesting, but like, yeah, anything. I mean, anything that lived with them already that lives with us today obviously could have lived with them. But anything like after them, like yeah, like I think about that bear video. Like bears probably could have lived with them. They just might not have necessarily been at the top of the food chain, right?
Yeah.
It's more of a sense of like less of could they have lived with them, but more of like if they happen to have been at the same time, like what level of the food chain would they have been, right? Would they need to worry more about getting eaten? Because I mean, you get wacky experiments all the time too. With oh my god, some of those animals just look crazy. But yeah, like I mean, humans. I don't think humans would have been around, and I don't know if humans could have because we definitely would have just like shot them all or something. Especially at least the big ones, right? Where it's like this thing will kill me, like T-Rex, right? You know, we probably leave like you know, Triceratops can chill. We'd probably turn Triceratops into like some type of farm animal or something, right?
There'll be like pony rides, but it'll be like triceratop rides.
That'd be awesome. I
I I
would
just
love that.
no, I'm 100% behind the bear answer. I just picture bears going after like the Dilophosaurus and
Well, weren't there
what
giant
like
sloths?
Gallimimus and all that and
Yeah. Oh yeah. So I could one I could totally see I could totally see the bear going after like Gallimimus or getting Gallimimus if it was like able to ambush it because Gallimimus those guys are pretty fast.
yeah.
I could definitely see like a tiger taking out a Gallimimus because they're like expert ambush predators. Um, but what was the other thing? I was also going to answer your question, but I forgot what you said.
I said giant sloth.
Oh yeah, giant sloth. Yeah, those guys. Because there's like crazy mammal experiments too, and yeah, like giant sloths. They, I mean, they're kind of slow, right? So the problem with giant sloths having have been alive, like if they were alive with the dinosaurs, I don't think that they would have been able to thrive, mostly because of how slow us like kind of they could be, and like yeah, they're big, but there's really big predatory dinosaurs, right? Whereas with the giant sloth, like yeah, you have like big carnivores, but not to the size that like your giant dinosaur carnivores were. I mean, dinosaurs were the biggest land animals ever, um, with the sauropods and all that. So yeah, there's definitely like your bigger mammal megafauna. At least the sloths might not have done well, but like Paraceratherium probably would have done well because that's essentially like the mammal's attempt at a sauropod or a long neck dinosaur. So like I could see them doing well in the sense that sauropods did well. So why couldn't they if the niche space was open for them, right?
Yeah.
Um. So yeah,
um so if cloning was actually possible, whether it's filling in the gaps in DNA through blood from a mosquito and amber with or with frogs, DNA, or let's just say a much more plausible way, um, do you think that they would be able to survive, whether that's in captivity or in the wild? Do we actually know enough about the climate, what they ate, etc., that they would actually make it?
yeah. I mean, it's kind of like it's definitely going to be a lot more likely for the animal for the dinosaur that you're bringing back to live if you brought it back into captivity, right? Because then you could kind of design the environment that it's in and try to make it best fit the conditions from its time. Um, but otherwise, it's like just throwing it into like the real life wild. That's gonna be a lot trickier because the climate, while our climate is warming or just changing, the overall climate for us today is a lot colder than it was for the dinosaurs. I mean, they didn't even have like there was like Antarctica was like subtropical, um, right? Like they had a beach and they had a lot of life there. Whereas like now it's like a wasteland of penguins and leopard seals. Um, so like there's like maybe you could get a couple to like thrive, right? If you put them in the right sort of latitudes. Um, but I would say more often than not, yeah, they would not do well because it's just a matter of there's also going to be like different amounts of oxygen levels in the air, right? And your bigger animals are going to need more oxygen, right? Because they have a bigger body to move. They need more of that energy to cycle through. Um, so yeah, no, like some of them I think could definitely live. Like I like the raptors, right? Your velociraptors, they're smaller. I think they would be fine. And in terms of diet, yeah, there's the aspect of like we don't have the exact same things that it was eating because unless we also brought those ones back. But in my head, I'm like, if a velociraptor eats a lizard, even though it's a different lizard, we still have lizards, and it's like it's the meat that matters and the energy in the meat, not so much like for the most part, unless you're a highly specialized animal, like how pandas like are like, oh, I only eat bamboo. Um, like it's like, oh well, if it's a lizard, it's a lizard. I'll eat it, right? Um,
Wow. I hope they never bring back any carnivores because I don't want to be eaten.
Well, I mean, the ones that would eat you are probably the ones that like wouldn't be able to survive anyway, right? Because
It's
like your
true.
T
It's true.
Rex, the T Rex, which I just keep going back to because it's like everyone knows T Rex, but like it's huge. It needs to eat so much to be able to like live, and it goes through those like it would not be able to eat enough to live because you have this giant megafauna essentially trying to live in a spot where everything is smaller and that means everything is faster and can like kind of hide and get away. Like the T-Rex isn't going to be able to catch enough food to sustain itself. I mean, maybe if it was in Africa, because that's like the only place in the world that still kind of has a bunch of megafauna around. Like, but otherwise, yeah, like even mammoths, like the environment that they thrived in kind of disappeared, and
Hmm.
that's like humans had an aspect in their extinction, but a lot of people think that it's like, oh, like humans caused the extinction for mammoths, like mammoths went extinct because of us, and it's like that's not necessarily the case. Their environment that they were accustomed to was going away, and their numbers were sort of going down before humans even migrated over to North America to be able to start hunting them. Um, so it's going to very much depend on whether the animal is more like a specialist or generalist. But yeah, some can, some can't. Um, and I'm hopeful. I know a lot of paleontologists probably won't agree with me on this, but I think the cloning stuff is cool, and like I look forward personally to like hopefully being able to have like a pet ankylosaurus or something. Like that'd be sick. I think it'd be cool, but
Heck yeah, good choice. That's my favorite. Um,
I think
so
that's a solid choice.
so one thing I'm thinking about as we're talking about cloning. So, um, I frequently thought like if we were to bring them back, what if they're completely unlike what we've portrayed them in movies? How do we know that they're not going to come out like timid or they're intimidated by everything around them? Like Jurassic World Dominion shows them like flourishing in the wild, but would that really be even with the small ones? Like, you've got motorized, it takes like one car to run over a dinosaur's foot, and now all of a sudden they're staying the hell away from cars. You know what I mean? Like, how do we know that would that even really be plausible for them to live? Let's say everything else you just said, oh, they don't get enough oxygen, they can't eat enough food, all that aside, so
Mhm.
they're already dead anyway. Uh,
Yeah, yeah, they are.
but
Yeah.
would it be like a possibility that they'd get into this surrounding and be like, like they say in Jurassic World, 65 million years has separated us, and now we bring them in. How do we know that they're not completely different, or they won't completely change based on, you know, we have a Jurassic Park zoo in Central Park or something, and they're looking at skyscrapers being like, what the shit is that?
Yeah, yeah.
But
I mean, you don't. Yeah, you're never gonna know exactly what their behavior is gonna be unless you actually did bring them back and you saw them. But I guess like the way I would imagine it is sort of like, at first at least, would kind of be like the deer in headlights type of situation, right? Like when I if I walk outside, the deer could be like I don't know, like 100 feet away from me or something, it'll bolt. But then like I'm driving at 60 miles per hour down the road and it just stands there and stares at me. You know, like I feel like there's gonna be an aspect of that where it's like they need to kind of get accustomed to and adapt to all these new changes in the environment. But I also think that if they lived for enough time, right? Like because over time they're going to be able to adapt and sort of get more accustomed to it, just like how birds do, right? I mean, um, lots of birds sort of thrive on our infrastructure, like pigeons, right?
Hmm.
Um, so and corvids are also really good at thriving in our infrastructure. So there's kind of an aspect of, you know, they should be able to adapt theoretically in that type of sense. If all the other stuff was out the window and it's like, yeah, they could live. Yeah, I think they could adapt too. It just, of course, with anything, it's gonna take time.
Right. Definitely.
yeah, I don't know. Squirrels still haven't come accustomed to cars.
Yeah, yeah, no, but they've become
Some have.
accustomed to climbing into the bird feeder.
That's true. That is
Hey,
very true.
a lot of rodents are very smart.
Oh yeah, it's kind of crazy how smart they could be.
Yeah, I was reading a thread about squirrels and cars and how like they'll start on the side of the road as you're driving by, but then they'll run in front of you and then run back away. That was such a
Yeah.
great thread on Reddit to go down. That was so fun. People
I
are like,
like
they
to
should
think.
learn. Cars have been around for 100 years. They're like, squirrels have been around for tens of thousands of years. They haven't had the
Yeah.
evolutionary time to learn about cars, and somebody essentially said to them it's just a big predator, and their fight or flight is kicking in, and they don't know what the hell they're doing.
A lot of
Um,
Yeah.
animals are like that, though.
yeah,
Like, I hit a raccoon at 75 miles an hour because it decided to turn around, even though I wasn't gonna hit it. It turned around right back into me.
Yeah, and then that's the thing. Like some things are going to be able to be adapted to, but like how you said, cars have been around for like 100 years. So yeah, a lot more time is needed. Whereas like our buildings and our cities, they've been around for thousands, right? So animals kind of get used to it. So yeah, I like to think that like when a raccoon or like a squirrel or something jumps in front of the car like that, I like to think it's like their dumbass like friend squirrel like, oh, like go jump in front of the car. I dare you. Like a double dog dare you. It's like,
that's what I think happens sometimes. Like it's a game to them. Like, yo, I bet you can't go between all four of those wheels and come out the other side.
yeah. Like, all right, I'll show you. And they're like, oh, never mind. No, you're
Oh,
right.
there goes Jimmy. Oh,
Yeah, here, have those 100 nuts. I bet. Yeah,
That's really what they're doing.
they're betting all their stash of nuts.
Yep, that's what
yeah,
they're
yeah. And
doing.
then they conveniently forget where they stored them, right? Oh, sorry, I can't pay you back, Jerry. Forgot where the nut stockpile is.
Now, one of my best friends loves dinosaurs so much that she has a giant velociraptor in her bedroom.
That's awesome.
Even though I'm pretty sure it's probably not correct apparently, because velociraptors apparently a lot smaller than they are and like
Well, so to be fair to Jurassic Park, yes, Velociraptor is a lot smaller, but they were very accurate for their Velociraptor design to a different dinosaur called Deinonychus, which is still a raptor. Um, they in the movie they dig it out in the same state that Deinonychus was discovered. The skull shape, because the Jurassic Park dinosaurs like shrink wrap design. The
mhm.
skull shape is the same shape as Deinonychus. It is the same size as Deinonychus. They did get that big. It's just they went with Velociraptor because it sounded cooler and scarier. So, you know, she just has a Deinonychus instead of a
That's
Velociraptor.
okay.
That's all.
That's okay.
Yeah,
It
it's
is.
still really cool.
I've taken selfies with it and it's about as taller than me. So,
That's
and it's
awesome.
in her bedroom. But I told her we were interviewing you and she wanted to know what you think the most fascinating fossil found in the last 5 years is.
The most fascinating fossil found in the last 5 years. Well, I think it was in the last 5 years. There's that ankylosaur that they found that sort of has like I kind of want to call it like almost like a chainsaw like tail club almost. Um, I think it's called like Stegoros. I need to
How does Chris not know
Google
this?
this.
I'm not good with names.
Yeah, Stegoros. Stegouros. It's an ankylosaur, but it has like this sort of chainsaw fan like tail club instead of your classic like nub. And I think that's probably my favorite of the new ones, of the new stuff that's come out, mostly because the ankylosaurs are my favorite group of dinosaurs. Um, so that was my personal favorite. It's just, you know, yeah, it's a cool tail club, and it just completely changes your thought of like what an ankylosaur tail club can be.
Mm-hmm.
Because you have the notosaurs, and they don't have tail clubs, but they have the giant shoulder spikes. And then it's like you have the ankylosaurs, and you get like either the more oval shape, or there's the more like rounded shape, and then like the more triangular shape. But they're all kind of like clubby, right? But now it's like this one is a whole different pattern that almost seems like just like looking at it, not saying it is like this, but it's like if you took like the tail club of an ankylosaur and then mixed it with the thagomizer of a stegosaurus, right, with the
Mm-hmm.
the tail spikes on it. um but like put it in the one, and I'm like, that's sick. That's my favorite.
Little chainsaws.
Exactly, yeah. I love you know Ash vs Evil Dead. you know it's my Ash vs Evil Dead dinosaur.
She was also curious how you handle waiting so long when you discover fossils to get them to the lab to finally prepare them, because she heard it takes years for you to even be able to work on them.
That stuff like that definitely depends on the institution that you're working at,
Yeah.
and sort of what other projects do you have going on. Because yeah, like you said, like you'll find it in the field, and it's like, well, if I have this pile of other projects that I need to publish first, then it kind of, yeah, it gets put on the back burner. Um and yeah, when stuff like that happens, and it's something that's like that, I know it's new, and I'm like, that kind of hurts my soul a bit, because I'm like, man, like I want to name that thing, right? But like if it's like something we find in the field, and it's like this is another piece of Triceratops, it's like, yeah, I could wait on getting that thing out of all the extra rock, right, and getting to the bone. I'm like, yeah, I could do some other stuff first. But that's also like, it's my career, so it's less like oh, I have to get all these things instantly, and you could start to get a little more pick and choosy about it, about what you want to do. Um, and then there's also the aspect of sometimes it just takes a while, because you might find a fossil of something that you're not an expert on, right? And the thing that is important about science is that science is collaborative. So that's why you get a lot more papers nowadays where you have a whole lot of authors on there. Whereas not too long ago, it was like you would have like one or two authors on a paper, and it's like one person doing the whole thing. But that's also how you can, unless you are the expert in that field, that's how you can get a lot of things wrong. And you don't want that, right? You want to get it right and spread the right information. So there's the aspect of like, okay, maybe I found this new lizard, and like I want to be a part of the project, but like I'm not a lizard expert, right? So it's like I could do the geology aspect of this paper, but I'm gonna contact this other paleontologist that specializes in lizards to come and help me figure out the rest of it. And then you have to worry about like this paleontologist that you reach out to, how much piled up work do they have on their back burner, right? Before they could get to it too. So that's kind of the reason why some things just take forever to get to and get out after it was discovered. It just piles up.
Right. I could see that.
Yeah, it's like you dig it out of the ground, you dig it out of the dirt pile just for it to be put into another like hypothetical pile of work.
Well, it takes 10 years before you actually get to work on it.
Yeah. And then there's the review process, right? Of like, okay, you did the work, now you submit the paper, and then it's like the whole other beast of like you have the people that review the paper and like be like, I think you're wrong because of this, and it's like, well, actually, I'm right because of this, and you go back and forth and all that, and yeah, it gets to be a headache sometimes, but it's fun. So
it's fun. It's a fun headache. Never had one of those.
It's a fun headache when it's finally published, right? When it's done.
It's true.
That's the thing. But there's, yeah, I would say that that's kind of how I deal with it. Is like, if I'm more interested in it, then I work on it sooner, and then it gets published sooner.
Speaking of Ankylosaur being your favorite, I saw you got some Friday the 13th flash.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got the my flash tattoo because I also made it my little graduation present to myself because I also graduated on Friday the 13th, and I was like, that's pretty sick. So yeah, I got the size, but I'm assuming you're talking about the other tattoo that might have been seen in the picture.
Yeah, I mean, there's, yeah. No, well, the main reason I brought up, I got a Friday the 13th flash too.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, because I thought you saw I have an Ankylosaur tattoo right by.
Yeah, I saw that next to it too.
What did you get?
I got a laurel wreath, which is like the crown that like Apollo would wear,
Nice.
Greek mythology. Yeah, I'm big into all the Greek stuff. Jess is probably tired of hearing it.
Yeah. Nah, it's fine.
I love the Spartans, so they were my favorite. Everyone loves the Romans. I like the Spartans. I don't know.
Yeah, Spartans were ruthless, but shut themselves off from the world.
Yeah,
you can talk about Greek stuff, Chris. I mean, I talk about lots of things that you're probably sick of me talking about.
Like story of the year.
Yeah, like story of the year.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
that's I was when I saw that when I was preparing for the episode, I was like, no way, I got Flash too on the same day.
Yeah. No, I mean, because I love getting tattoos, man. It's so much fun, and it's like kind of therapeutic sometimes.
Yeah, it is. And so the one I went to, it was $50. You could do custom, and it would be $70. So I gave them custom, and the tattoo. I'd never been to the shop before, and the girl's like, "How big do you want?" Well, let me here. It's
sick.
Yeah. It's hard to get a good angle on it because with the wrist, as soon as you turn it. Anyway, she's like, "It's there's a decent amount of leaves you want on there." I'm like, "Yeah," and she's like, "I'm gonna have to use a single needle." I was like, "Okay." Like, okay. And she's like, "I tend to not use single needle guns because people say they hurt pretty bad." I'm like, "Just use a single needle gun." Just go ahead, do it.
Do what you got to do,
Do what you got to do. It was the least painful gun I've ever had used on me.
I'm warning you, this is gonna be the most painful experience of your life. You're like, when do you? She's like going like, all right, did you start? Like,
Yeah, and it's so I don't know what healing process you use, but I put Sanoderm on as soon as I got home.
mm,
So like that second skin thing.
yeah,
Um, I don't know if it's because it was a single needle gun. It's already healed, and I mean that's only
that's
a few
crazy.
days ago. So yeah, I was shocked. But the whole reason I started with Sanoderm is that itchy period and like that where it hurts, it doesn't happen with Sanoderm on
Mm.
it. So
Yeah, sometimes I use Sanoderm, sometimes I don't. The one I got this time I didn't put Sanoderm on it because it's like I always like I peel off the Sanoderm the right way, where it's like you're not supposed to like lift it over, you're supposed to like pull it from the corner
yep,
or whatever, so it
yep.
pops up. But it's like every time I do the Sanoderm, I feel like I'm ripping off parts of the tattoo, and I'm like, oh man, I'll just dry heal it and throw Aquaphor on there when
Yeah,
I need to.
yeah, I won't leave the Sanoderm on more than 3 days. So if
Mm,
it's a bigger piece and it's weeped a lot, I'll take it off after 24 hours and put a new one on for 2 days or so.
mm.
But yeah, no, because you got if you don't have that weeping, yeah, when you take off the Sanoderm, it's like there goes half my tattoo.
Yeah, I'm like, that was a couple $100,
Yeah,
Yeah, right there, right down on the Sanoderm. It's like I guess I could hang it up on the wall, right? Like now I have
yeah,
two of them. Like,
It's true.
um, but yeah, no, yeah, I'm always slapping the hell out of my tattoos, man. Whenever they're healing.
yeah. It's really hard, and I don't know if you're like me. I forget that it's there. Like you'll get an itch and you forget that it's there, and you're like, ah, damn.
Oh
Um,
yeah, every now and then I get so mad at myself, and I'm like I don't like because it'll be like I'll scratch it like under like my jeans or something, right? And I'm like I'm not gonna look at it because I feel like I just scratched off half the thing. But then like later I look, I'm like, oh okay, it's all still there. I'm chilling.
I don't have any tattoos, so I can't talk about tattoos. No, just kidding.
Well,
so
okay, if you did get a tattoo, what tattoo would you get?
Well, there's multiple that I've been wanting. I had a dog growing up. He was a black lab. I had him 15 and a half years. I want him on my back shoulder, but I wanted to be, he's a black lab, so kind of hard to do a black lab. And
Well,
then I got to
okay,
find the right artist that'll actually make it look like him because I'll be so pissed if I get it back and I'm like, oh, that looks nothing like him because that's
that
stuck on me.
that's fair. Yeah, no, because because if you're trying to get like a portrait like that, yeah, you need someone who's really good at hyper realism, and there's definitely really talented people who could do it.
But I'm gonna spend a fortune on it for
Yeah,
sure.
you are.
how
Yeah.
big do you want it, Jess?
Like my hand.
Hand size, including finger? Like,
Yes, on my shoulder, because otherwise it's too
um,
small. It'll be too hard to get realistic.
Yeah.
do you know what shop minimums are there? Like hourly?
I have
Have you
no
done
idea.
any? No. All right. So
Mm.
let's say it's like 250. I would say you're probably looking easily like 1250.
Yeah, I know. I can ask my cousin. She is an apprentice.
You know what? Yeah, there you go. You gotta make sure your cousin is really good at hyper realism.
No, I wouldn't have her do it. Definitely not. But she might have an idea of pricing.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought you meant like have your cousin tattoo you.
No, I know someone who probably could pull it off, but she's living in Vegas now.
Hey, well, people travel for
So I'd have to
tattoos sometimes,
travel. But we'll see. No, my husband and I talked about getting like soot balls from Spirited Away.
Mm,
Little soot balls, little
yeah,
matching tattoos like that because I like
that's
those. But
cool. You get
I
them in
don't know.
like matching spots too.
Yep, little soot balls.
Yeah, I
Start
mean,
small.
another idea if you're not like dead set on having like the hyper realistic portrait of your dog. I also had a black lab, which is funny enough. They're awesome dogs, but my black lab was named Lightning. So after we had to put her down, I got a tattoo of a lightning bolt to kind of like be something that goes with the name. Which like I understand is kind of hard to do if like I don't know what your dog's name. If your
Yeah,
dog was
no,
named like
no,
Jerry, like that's
no.
gonna
My
be
dog
kind of
was
hard.
named Chevy, so I'm not getting a Chevy symbol
No,
tattooed on me.
you don't want to get like a Corolla.
No,
No,
his name was
fair enough.
Chevy. But
Well,
no,
hey, maybe you could get like a Chevelle band logo, right? And be like
no, I can't do
Chevy.
that either because my dad has a dog named Chevelle now.
Oh, yeah, well,
It's a car theme in the animal world in my dad's house.
yeah. Well, hey, I'm sure
Now
you'll
they have a
figure something
Boston
out.
Terrier
Yeah.
named Beamer, like, a BMW Beamer.
Oh, yeah. Yep. Yep. This sounds like a lot of car tattoos coming your way.
Right? Well, hey, I only want my dog that I had growing up
Yeah.
because he
No,
was like
of
my best
course.
friend.
Especially labs. Labs are awesome.
They
They're
are,
so
they're the
friendly.
best,
Hmm. Yeah.
especially black labs. I like black labs the most, though.
They're kind of the best looking ones, in my humble dog
Well, black
opinion.
labs are the best. Then second would be yellow labs, but they can be a little nutso sometimes.
Mm,
But chocolate labs, they're the cray cray ones.
they're the cray cray. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. My black lab. She was so chill.
Yeah,
She
so
was
was
like,
mine.
yeah. It's like she just sits there. She doesn't bother you. She doesn't like. She didn't like beg at the table or anything. It was just like she just wanted to get pet. I think it was
Don't get
awesome.
me wrong. There are some crazy black labs out there,
Oh,
but they have to be mixed with something else, man.
yeah, they're mixed with like a crackhead. I don't know.
Chris is like, oh gosh, now we're going off on a black lab tangent.
No, I had a black lab too when I
Oh,
Oh,
lived in
you
see?
do?
North.
That's
Yeah,
crazy.
yeah, I did when I lived in North Carolina. She was very chill too. Like if you let her somewhere off the leash, she wouldn't leave more than like 6 inches from you. She knew to stay next to you. She liked this game when we were in the house. Our house was like pretty long. She would run from one end to the other. If I was like on all fours like a dog, she would come, run, head boot me, and then run back to the other side, run back again, head boot me, and then run. And she'd keep doing it over and over and over. I'm like, okay, this is a
That's
game.
awesome.
This is a game now, I guess. No, I got a cray cray dog now.
What
Um,
what kind?
she's a Belgian Malinois.
Belgian
So like
Malinois.
the
A
like
police
police
dog.
dog.
Ah, okay, okay.
Yeah, and yeah, she's got energy, all right.
Yeah.
But she's the goodest girl.
That's debatable.
Depends on the day, right?
Yeah,
Not on
yeah.
Tuesdays.
Um, so to tie in paleontology to music, let's say you get to set up an exhibit for a traveling festival like Warped Tour or something like that, and you get to set up like a tour of fossils that you're gonna bring. What fossils are you gonna bring?
What fossils would I bring if I had like, so is this like am
You,
I just like showing off like dinosaurs at the show, or like,
yeah, like you get
yeah,
your own little side exhibit at Warped Tour.
okay, all right. I mean, I would want to mix like classics that everyone knows to like get people's attention, and then like have like some maybe like lesser known ones, depending on who you ask, lesser known. Um, but so like of course I'd have to have T-Rex. But I'd also have Spinosaurus. I'd have some type of ankylosaur. Um, I would have Pyroraptor. That Pyroraptor is a good draft pick for that. Because it has a cool name. Fire's in the name. Let's see. Carnotaurus is a solid pick. That one even like looks a little devilish. Which, speaking of which, I would probably, instead of Triceratops, for Ceratopsians, I would probably take Diabloceratops, because that one has like devil in the name, and I think that fits great for one of those concert venue things going on. And also Styracosaurus, because that one looks pretty metal, which because it just has like spikes going everywhere out the side of his head. Are there any others I would necessarily take? Cryolophosaurus is pretty cool. I'd probably maybe even Dilophosaurus, because just to show like that it's a lot bigger than it was in Jurassic Park. Um, but like I'd probably also dress up all these dinosaurs a little bit to make it look like they're like doing a doing a set or something, right? Like I'd probably have like so like stupid like frill for the Dilophosaurus, even though like it wouldn't have actually had it, just for like the the rule of cool, right? Um, and like maybe I'd give like the put like the ankylosaur on like drums or something, right? Like his tail club is the drumstick. Um, you know,
He could
I'd
just hit.
probably
He
dress him
could
up
hit a
too.
gong.
Oh yeah, he could be the gong guy. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Boom
That's
with his
perfect
tail.
actually. Yeah, and then I could take like some type of stegosaur and have that be the drummer, right? Because then they have like the tail spikes that could be the drumsticks then,
There you
right?
go.
So I have the gong, I have the drums, right? And out of the stegosaurs, I'd probably take Kentrosaurus just because that's my personal favorite of them, and they have a lot more spikes than Stegosaurus does.
I have so many
Um,
dinosaurs to look up. It's not even funny. I'm
well,
like, I
hey,
don't know any of these dinosaurs.
I'm giving you some really cool ones to look
I
at
know.
on the
I'm gonna
bright
have to look
side.
them up.
You know, I'm not giving you like dopey basic ones that are just like, yeah, I mean, it's like a lizard with legs, right? You know,
I
um,
do you have a dinosaur that would, if you were to meet it face to face, would terrify you the most?
would terrify me the most.
Like you wouldn't want to meet it
Well,
face to face because you'd be like in your nightmares for the rest of your life, or you'd be dead.
yeah, I mean, I would definitely be dead. Um, but I think, hmm,
Chris, don't you have
see,
one that you're terrified of?
Yeah, and if hopefully I'm pronouncing it correctly, the Therizinosaurus.
Therizinosaurs? Okay. I can see why. I can see why. You know, they are very scary, right? It's like the Wolverine dinosaur, right? But they're not carnivores. They are herbivores and omnivores. And like I wouldn't be too scared of them because their claws are great for intimidation. So I guess yeah, intimidation wise, yeah, definitely be scared. But there's been studies on like how like stress test studies on their claws, and their claws are too long and too like thin to be able to be used for actual like combat.
Hmm.
Their claws would break from it. So what they would actually do with these giant Wolverine claws that they had is that they would shear plants off of trees and to get the vegetation and eat it. So you probably don't have to be as worried about as that one, but I could definitely see why that's a scary one. Um, like I don't T Rex would not be my most scared, mostly because like their bite force can crush bones. Like that thing would kill me instantly, you know, if it bit me. But like maybe something like Allosaurus, right? Where like they kind of hunt in groups sometimes, and they have instead of having like banana like bone crushing teeth, they have more like serrated like knife teeth where it's like they cut meat off of you. So it's like I might not instantly die, and that would probably be the type that would scare me the most. Like a dinosaur that has more of those knife like teeth where it's like you're still alive while they're ripping you apart, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, I'll probably go with Allosaurus, or I could even say like you know Deinonychus, one of those raptors, are fair game too, because you know they're they're not as big as an Allosaurus, but they're still bigger than me. You know,
Right.
like
I would definitely say raptor of some sort, like a bigger
yeah,
raptor, because I'm telling you, when I first saw Jurassic Park, it was in the theater. I had to leave the theater when I was a kid. I couldn't. I was so terrified as a kid. I had to leave and then come back when
mm-hmm.
it was no longer a scary part.
Yeah, the sickle claws. Oh my god, because they're so good. They're so good at ripping and tearing.
Yep.
Yeah, I could see why. You know, it's
That'd be
like
my terrifying
yeah,
dinosaur.
and you know, in the beginning of the movie, they're like they take the claw and he's like, yeah, it gut you like what a big turkey, right? You know, like, So
It
yeah,
started scaring you.
yeah.
Well, look,
And they were like the big bad guy. What?
I got unexpected therapy. I'm no longer afraid of Therizinosaurus.
There,
Uh,
now you've learned more about it, and now you're like, oh,
now
yeah,
I
it
gotta
probably
find a
wouldn't
diff.
kill me.
Now I gotta find a
I'm
different
so
one to be
sorry.
afraid of.
I'm so I'll just delete the knowledge from your head. You know?
Now, this next question is totally not dinosaur related or paleontology related, but
Okay.
it's a hot topic that a lot of people, it's a hot debate, I should say.
Okay.
You have some French fries. What are you dipping them in?
What am I dipping my French fries in? Well, okay. Are these like your normal French fries? Are these like sweet potato French fries?
They're just
Are these
regular old French
just
fries.
regular old French fries?
From the freezer specifically.
Yes,
Okay.
this is like, let's say from the freezer, you just put them in your air fryer
You
and
didn't get
Yeah.
them from your favorite place. They're just
Yeah. Oh man. All right.
man, that just bummed him out real quick.
Well,
I
because
mean,
now it's like French fries that like are like kind of like not all that great, but they're okay. I'm definitely loading them with salt. Um, Probably. I mean, I'm a little basic in a sense where like I is totally happy with just ketchup with them. But fry sauce is really good. Like if I go to a place that has fry sauce, I'll take fry sauce over ketchup any day. Um, but yeah, ketchup, fry sauce. Otherwise, I don't know what sauce they give with the sweet potato fries. I think it's some sort of like cinnamon sugar sauce or
it's
something.
like cinnamon
And
butter, I think.
yeah, that
Yeah.
oh my god, that stuff's like crack. I love that, but I don't think it would go good with a normal French fry. So yeah, with a normal French fry, probably just like ketchup. But I'm a sweet potato person, so um,
hey, I love sweet potato fry, but I dip mine in barbecue sauce because I love barbecue
barbecue
sauce.
barbecue's really good. Like that, I like that for like chicken
Oh, well,
a
yeah.
lot. Yeah, of course, barbecue chicken, right? It's in the name. Um, yeah, barbecue's really good.
Yeah, and I'm a purist, I guess. I can't dip it in anything for the most part. With the
Mhm.
exception of like it breaks the rules, but a Chick-fil-A fry will go in some sort of Chick-fil-A sauce. But
Oh
um
my god, yeah. Also, sweet and sour sauce too. That's also really good.
oh,
Um,
that's a good segue into our other food debate, Jess.
Oh my
Sweet and
gosh.
sour sauce.
Yeah, we have lots
Um
of food debates
but
randomly.
real quick
okay, I love food.
with the fry thing, like if you're to me if you're dipping it in something like you're masking the taste of a bad fry and you're just making it
Mm.
soggy and I
See,
no.
but Chris, you make us say frozen French fries. Well, they're all going to be bad unless they come from like a fast
Yeah,
food place.
yeah. Like,
Buy the
not
good
gonna
ones. I
lie. Like when I go to McDonald's or something, like I'll just I'll just eat the fries and nuggets as they are, and it's like I'll like still order the sweet and sour sauce because like I feel weird telling them no sauce because like I feel like they're like look at this weirdo like eating dry fries. I'm like, ah, man, they're good though.
But McDonald's fries are good if they're fresh.
Yes, yeah, you can't let them get cold. It's like you get your McDonald's meal and the fries have to be the first thing you eat. You know, um,
yeah, my fries don't even make it home out of the bag.
They didn't when I used to eat them, but I haven't had McDonald's in years.
Oh man,
Um
I just had it like last night.
so I'm glad I found a sweet and sour lover here. So I don't know if you've ever tried this with McDonald's, but somebody that I dated a long time ago did this. I thought she was crazy. Then I tried it because she made me, and it is the best thing in the world.
Okay,
Get any kind of McDonald's cheeseburger, doesn't matter what it is. The real good way to do it is like a quarter pounder with cheese. Dip
okay.
it in sweet and sour and eat it that way.
So don't put the sweet and sour on the sandwich. Just dip it in.
Dip it. Control your
Okay.
ratio. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, okay. That's understandable. No, I never. I'll have to try it. Well, okay. Does this also? Because I usually get like chicken sandwiches. Does this also work for chicken sandwiches, or is this a
I
burger thing?
haven't tried it. It's a weird thing that only works on McDonald's burgers with McDonald's sweet and sour. Any
Okay.
other
Okay.
combo didn't seem to work. You could try. It would probably work with chicken. Like I
I
love a
think it
good.
would be a different kind of thing though, because chicken
That's true.
does taste
That's
good with
fair.
sweet and sour because you get sweet and sour chicken from a Chinese restaurant.
All
Yeah.
right. So
It's got to
I'll
be a
have to
burger. It's got to be a burger.
I'll have
Yeah.
to. You said a quarter pounder.
You quarter pounder with cheese.
All right. I'll have to get a quarter pounder with cheese and find out for myself, and then I'll send an Instagram DM and tell you what I think. Um,
I'd love that. We also have another one where you put mustard on a banana that I saw in a YouTube video, and the guy was like, "Actually,
Interesting.
it's not bad." And I think only one person is right. Only the band from Germany has tried it
Yeah, a
so
band
far.
from Germany actually tried it and took video of themselves doing it and sent it to us.
That's great. Oh man, now maybe I'll make a video then. Yeah,
The
maybe I'll make a video too.
I think
Um,
the most disturbing part of the video with the people from Germany is that their mustard came in like a toothpaste squeeze tube.
mm.
And
Yeah,
my wife saw it
huh.
and she was like, "Why does that look like industrial strength adhesive?"
they're like brushing their teeth with it. Like, oh, it's so good, man.
Maybe they brush their teeth with mustard. I don't know.
No, it could be.
I don't know what they do in Germany.
But it so just because I used to work at a McDonald's. When you do order a quarter pounder with cheese, because it just made me think of it. Just so you know, every time you get a quarter pounder with cheese, you're gonna get parked at one of the parking spots in the drive-through. Um, they just, at least when I worked there, they were like, yeah, if someone orders that, just park them. They take longer to make.
Yep.
So
Yeah, I worked there a very long time ago. I was 16, so how many years is that, Jess? 22 years ago.
You're
Oh, that
asking
makes
the
me feel
wrong
old.
person. I don't math.
nah, it was like
And
4 years ago, right?
so I wish. But now are there regular burgers because on those little trays where you put in like all the cooked food,
Hmm.
are the regular burgers still a tenth of a pound, not an eighth? Or have they changed that?
Well, I don't know for sure because like I was like cashier drive-through person. I never like handled like
I
anything with the
gotcha.
actual food. But I
Gotcha.
mean, I from what I understand, like the the quarter pound or whatever, like even when you order like a steak at a restaurant, it's like that's what it is like when they get it and it's
Pre-cooked. Yep.
frozen, right? But yeah, when they cook it, it gets smaller because yeah,
So it's
So
a
it
lie.
was something
yeah.
I wondered when I worked there. So like I don't know if they still have them, but they had like warming trays. So after you cook it, you would shove it in the warming tray, and they were all labeled so you know where you would put it. And we had half pound back then, but we had quarter pound, half pound, and then there was another one that said 110. So that was a tenth of a pound,
Oh, I
and
don't
we would
think we
put them in
had
there.
those. I
Yeah,
don't I don't think I don't remember half pound either, but like I don't I don't usually know too much of like the burgers because I'm typically a chicken sandwich person. Like
yeah,
I
I
usually
have
go for
two.
spicy chicken sandwiches.
Yep,
So
yep.
um but yeah, I mean because I know they definitely have the things just to keep the food heated. Like you see it with like the French fries and everything too. Um but oh man, I'm getting hungry.
Me too. I got ice cream
That's
calling
what
my
we do,
name.
Chris. We make people hungry at the end of the podcast.
We do.
Hey, food. Being from Jersey, food is one of my favorite things to talk about. I mean, you could even ask like the professors that like I TA for, right? Like I help them teach, and they always tell the students they're like, "Don't get Joe started on food." They're like, he's gonna go down a rabbit hole and start talk and just keep talking.
Actually,
Oh,
that just made me think because you went to school out on the West Coast, right? So,
yes,
and you're from Jersey, so how how shitty is the pizza out there?
Domino's is the best pizza out
My
here.
God. That hurts a little bit.
It
It's the
hurts
best
me
pizza
so
out there.
much. It hurts me so much that Domino's is the best pizza that I've found out here so far. Apparently, there's a really good pizza place by Gonzaga University in Spokane called Dinardi's. I haven't gotten to try them yet, but the owner is from the East Coast, so that's why it's good. It's like okay, like this person knows how to make pizza, right? Um, but yeah, no, I one of my because I'm going back to New Jersey for my PhD, so I'm very very excited to have good food again. Because I miss Philly cheesesteaks so much. Um, I miss chicken parm subs so much because like they make chicken parm out here, but you can't find chicken parm subs out here. So I guess if anyone is listening and is looking for a business to start a chicken parm business in Washington. But uh, yeah, and it's also like I'm just in general like personally I'm not like I'll eat Mexican food if other people want it, but I'm just generally not a big fan of it myself. And like most of the restaurants out here are Mexican food restaurants, so it's also like I'm in Jersey, like it's instead of Mexican food restaurants being everywhere, it's Italian food, and I love Italian food. So like I miss that a lot too. Just like getting all my delicious Italian pasta. Oh my god, my Alfredo, the vodka sauce. Oh my god.
Chris, you're really making him hungry now.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So like here, because I'm in upstate New York,
Okay,
in Jersey, have chicken riggies made their way down to Jersey?
I have not heard of that, but it
Oh my
sounds
God.
good.
It's okay, so it's like grilled chicken and it's cut into like thin strips. It's in like a spicy vodka sauce
Okay,
with penne noodles and some like tomato and other stuff mixed in. It is like a regional thing. I think it
yeah,
started out in Utica. It's made its way over to Syracuse and I'm sure maybe like Albany or something, but yeah, so good.
I'll have to try it because I mean I'm going to be back in the area, so I mean I might as well. And it sounds good. Like spicy food, like oh my god, that's the thing. Like I love spicy food, like taste wise, right? I think it's delicious. My body hates it. Like I'll be at like Applebee's, like getting my half apps right, and it's like I have like two buffalo wings and I'm already sweating and my face is red, but it's delicious, you know. Whereas my best friend who's also Joe and he also does paleontology. Um, he I swear that guy could eat like molten lava and like not care, you know. That's wild. But I definitely want to try this chicken thing. It's, and I'm
Yeah,
sure he wanted to. Yeah.
chicken riggies, they're pretty good. Not me and my son, older son, both really like spicy things. You've heard of like the Pepper Palace before? They've got stores and malls and like shop and like strip malls where like it's just a bunch of hot sauce.
Just a bunch of
Um,
hot sauce. Yeah. Okay.
so we had gone there and my older son wanted to try the spiciest one that you can get a sample of and he hadn't eaten anything that day and we're like three steps out of the store and he's laying on the mall floor. I'm like,
just like dying. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yep,
I'm not a
yeah,
spicy
Oh
person.
no.
no.
Do you? So what's like the spiciest you could go?
Me?
Me,
Both of you.
Oh God. I really have low tolerance because I just don't like I like to taste my food and not have my mouth be on fire.
Yeah. You don't like feeling like the inside of your mouth heal for the next couple days.
Yeah, I don't. I like to be able to taste my food and not just taste that burning sensation like my mouth is gonna explode on fire and go up in flames.
That's
yeah.
fair.
Comfortable. Like if there's a hot sauce with ghost pepper, I'm okay.
Spicy
Um,
Doritos? Does that count?
Hey,
spice.
they're good. Yeah, they make me
Which
sweat. They're good.
the which one? Which spicy Doritos?
The nacho, just the normal regular spicy
Regular
nacho.
not are you saying nacho cheese Doritos are
Wait,
spicy?
No, the spicy nacho Doritos.
But those are barely spicy. Those are like they
Those are
put the
spicy
nacho
to me.
cheese and then they add a little black pepper and they're like, here you go.
No, they're spicier than that. Now they make them
No.
spicier, actually.
They have you're gonna think it's super spicy if you think the spicy nacho cheese is spicy. The golden sriracha ones,
Yeah, no,
those ones are
that one
haven't
good.
tried those.
sounds that sounds like it's That sounds
Yeah.
like I need like a towel next to me.
It's not that bad.
I'm trying to think. There was a chip I tried,
Have
but I
you
can't
tried?
remember what it was. And I was like, "There's got a kick," but it was like a kick I could handle, but it wasn't like
Oh,
super spicy.
I
I
was
think
gonna.
it's because it had jalapeno in it.
Oh,
Okay, I know like Takis are like really good, but
yeah, like
and they're like kind of spicy.
the
Yeah,
blue fuego Takis are really good.
yeah. I thought that they were gonna be more spicy than the like normal Taki, but like I think the normal one's spicier.
Yeah, there's something about the color blue that I think it's just trying to throw
Yeah,
you off.
yeah. It's the cool
Yeah.
flavor, right?
No, it's blue because the flame is like the hottest when it's like really blue and stuff, right?
Yeah, but like
In a fire.
but the red one's hotter. The red Taki is hotter than the blue Taki though.
Oh, well, yep, they're trying to
It's
trick
kind
you.
of yeah. It's advertising.
Yep, it is.
Like buy the blue one. Just
That's like
totally
that's
hotter.
like just the other day I was talking to a coworker and I was like, if you need a migraine medicine, just buy regular Excedrin. Don't buy Excedrin migraine because it's the exact same thing. They're just gonna charge you more.
Yeah, it's the same with
Yeah.
children's medication.
Yeah, it's all marketing.
Yeah, it's more expensive and it's just like a quarter of the dose. You just
Yep.
Yeah. Just
cut it
just
up.
give them a quarter of the thing, you
Yep.
know?
Yep.
That's how they
You know?
sucker you into things.
Damn, now I want food.
Now you want food.
Yeah,
You
what were
know,
you
you know, I kind of think we figured out what we usually ask our last question is what's your favorite dinosaur is, but I think we know what your favorite dinosaur is, which is an ankylosaur.
No, they're my favorite
No.
group.
Ooh, their
So,
favorite group, Chris. See?
they're
Oh,
What's your
yeah.
la what this is
Yeah.
the final question then. What is your favorite dinosaur?
Yeah, so like, yeah, because like Ankylosaurs, my favorite group of dinosaurs. They're so cool. I love them. But if we're talking like singular dinosaur, I said its name earlier on, but Pyroraptor, that's my favorite singular dinosaur, and it's mostly like because I like carnivores. I think carnivores are really cool, and like I just like its name because it has fire in the name, and I have a little bit of fascination with fire. I'm not an arsonist, but like I like sitting by the campfire watching it, so like I'm like Pyroraptor, like that's awesome. And his full name is Pyroraptor olympius, which translates to Olympic fire thief, and it got its name because it was discovered after a forest fire in France.
Oh.
hmm.
Yeah, so
See, but
that's my
I
favorite
think
dinosaur.
I think we all go through a fire stage as kids though. We're all little pyros at some point.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I play a video game, and it's like I'm always going for the fire element.
So I have a random question, and this is only it's dinosaur related. Oh, because my kid has a toy of a dinosaur, and I don't know what it is.
Okay,
It's a sauropod, and it's got tons of spikes, long spikes, all up and down its back. Two
mm,
rows of them. It's got two rows
that's
of. Go ahead.
probably a Margosaurus. That's probably Amarga saurus. It's probably that one. But there is another sauropod that has spikes like that. So it could be that the other one too, which I think is uh probably gonna butcher the pronunciation, but it's like but Bajadasaurus. I think it's Bajada saurus, I think. Bajada. Yeah, I think that one also has those spikes going on along its neck, but it's probably one of those two, a Margosaurus or Bajadasaurus.
It does look like the Bajadasaur. I think they took a lot of
You should have brought the dinosaur toy up here. We're down there.
I should have. I think they took some liberty in creating it because according to the images that I see, it's neither of them. Because this one's got it like really
They
long.
made their own.
Yeah, they must
Yeah,
have.
it is
Um,
a toy, right? And I don't know what the toy looks like, but depending on the toy, yeah, they're kind of like if it's dinosaur enough, it's a dinosaur, right?
yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
but those are probably my two best guesses as to what that's supposed to be.
Oh,
Yeah,
Yeah.
I found it. You're right. It was the Bajadasaurus. I
it was a
found it.
Bajadasaurus.
Yeah, I found it.
Oh, I was right. Let's go.
You picked his brain on just describing it, and he knew what you were talking about.
Uh,
Well,
That's
my
pretty
favorite
I
epic.
can't
dinosaur
do
is
that with every
my
dinosaur.
favorite dinosaur is a brachiosaurus. So
Oh, they're awesome. I mean, they're like, um, because sauropods are super interesting. Because in and if I'm talking too much, like tell me. But
no, it's fine.
the like in the northern hemisphere, right? The sauropods that you find are like you get your brachiosaurs, right, which were the treetop ones, right, and their their nose is on the top of their head because their teeth can't chew. They could just pull leaves off of the tree, so they get a big mouthful. But when their nose is on top of their head, they could breathe with that mouthful instead of having to stop breathing, and then they just swallow it, and then they swallow rocks to digest it, right? Those are called gastroliths. But it's interesting because in the northern hemisphere, you get those brachiosaur types that feed off the treetops, and then in the and then you get the diplodocus types, right, where they have their long necks, but straight out to like graze on grass and stuff. Um, but then in the southern hemisphere, you get titanosaurs, and they could do both. So it's just like an interesting like difference of I guess how different way that evolution went of like you have these two specialized ones in the northern hemisphere, but then one that could do both in the southern hemisphere. Um, but brachiosaurs are awesome. I especially loved when he sneezed on the kid.
That is what made me love a brachiosaurus. Is when they sneezed on him in the Jurassic Park movies.
Yeah, yeah, it's so funny.
That's
But
what I describe to people too when I tell them my favorite dinosaur. They're like, I'm like, yeah, it's the one that sneezes on them in Jurassic Park.
the
And they're like,
sneeze scene.
oh, I know what that one is.
Yeah, that one. Yeah, that one's awesome. Um, so what's yours?
Ankylosaur.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
they're awesome. I mean, walking tanks. They got the weapon right, and then I was at the conference SVP in October, late October, and someone had a study on I don't even know if I think they published the study. So uh, essentially they found that the armor of the ankylosaur, because they did a study on how strong the armor was. Essentially, what they found was I don't want to give too many details on it because it's their work and I don't know if they published it yet. But essentially, they found that it could absorb the same amount of force as a high speed car crash. Their armor, so they really were like walking tanks. So even more reason to love them. Um, yeah,
That's awesome. I really want to go see that giant fossil they have of it in that museum. I forget where the museum is now. But like the full back plate that they found.
oh, the one that's like mummified almost.
Yeah, something with in the
Yeah, I think that
exact one
one's.
is like a but something with a B.
You're talking about, I don't think it's Borealipelta, is it?
I
You're
think it
both Googling
was.
right now.
Yeah.
We Borealip. Oh, I think it is Borealipelta. Yeah, yeah, that's your mummified one. Borealopelta. That's the mummified one. That thing's sick. I'm pretty sure, isn't it? I think it's housed in Canada, isn't it?
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
yeah, that one's really cool. Um,
You know,
I still need to see that one myself.
you know what's gonna be sick? The Pokemon fossil exhibit.
Oh my
That's gonna be
god,
sick.
that is gonna be. I do have a bit of a gripe with the newer Pokemon fossils though, because like I hate that they're just combining the different animals now. Like, just give me my normal dinosaurs, man. Like, I don't want like a plant with a fish head, you know. um, but oh my god, yeah, the fossil, that's gonna be so cool. I'm I'm hoping I'm gonna get to see that Pokemon fossil exhibit thing.
I think it's debuting in Chicago, I believe,
Yeah, I don't know
which
how I'm
isn't
gonna
that
get to
far from me.
Chicago, but
So
you at least have to experience it for the both of for the both of us.
yeah, I'll experience it for the both of you. We could do a Chris, if I do go to it, I'll just have to like dial you both up in a live or a video and be like, see, look it.
Bet you wish you were here.
Uh,
Rub it in your
Uh,
face. No, I'm just kidding.
yeah. No, that's gonna be
uh,
sick though. Yeah.
It'll be interesting. Hopefully I can go.
Uh,
but
I'll keep my fingers crossed for you.
It won't be for a little while though, so
Yeah, well, you have time to plan for it then.
exactly. Got time. But
Yeah.
that's all we have for you this evening, unless there's anything else Chris wants to add.
I could be here all night into
I know you
tomorrow
could.
and probably into the next weekend. So
I don't know if you could tell, but I'm a talker, so.
Hey, that's good. That's fine. We tend to be a bit of talkers and we get on side tangents all the time. And I think what time is it? Like I think this might be the longest now, Chris.
it's a close tie.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. This
Uh-oh.
you might be our longest interview.
Should we sit here and just stare at each other for a minute just to beat out the record?
I don't even know what is the record, Chris. I don't know when we actually started.
Yeah, I don't know. The record is right around 2 hours.
Well, this is
Okay.
longer than 2 hours.
Well,
Yeah.
I
We
think
probably
I
beat
think
it.
potentially have a new record.
I think if you just sit and stare, that'll make a great content.
Yeah. Well, hey,
Yeah.
like
Let
Who is it gonna
people
stick?
make a
Who's it
clip
gonna
of that.
stay on though? Who's it gonna stay on?
All of us. Ready? Stare.
I love Derek Zoolander.
We were
I could kind of do the look, like blue
we,
steel.
we were all committed to that bit. I like it.
Totally committed.
Well, now to extend it, you just take all our faces, you have a freeze frame, and act like it's just longer, right? Have to stretch out for a minute. Oh man.
But thanks so much for coming on.
Oh,
It's
yeah,
been a
thanks for having me.
pleasure learning more. I've learned so much now about
Hey, well,
about
hey, I'm glad. I had a great
paleontology
time.
and dinosaurs and all sorts of things.
Yeah, no, it's been fun.
And Chris got to pick your brain.
Yeah, and if you ever want to come back on, by all means, um,
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, yeah.
We can talk.
Just let me
Chris
know,
has
right?
way more
Because
questions that he could ask.
yeah, I definitely, and I thought of like 17,000 more while we were talking.
Oh, and my
yeah,
friend, she was like, I messaged her tonight about that, and she was like, had I known sooner, I have so many questions I could have sent you.
well, hey, I can't guarantee that I could answer every single one of them because I don't know everything about paleo, right? But I
But you
know,
know way more than we do.
so I could do my best to answer any questions you guys got. But yeah, no, I mean, I'm more than down to do this again sometime. But I'll leave that up to you guys because I don't know how many guests you want in between, right? When you have a repeat guest and all that. But my DMs are always open. So
Yeah.
Actually, I got one more question I need to
Uh-oh.
ask.
He
okay.
has to ask it.
Is Laura Dern's title in Jurassic Park a real thing? Is a paleobotanist a real title that
Oh
you can
yeah,
have?
yeah. Oh yeah. There's paleontology because paleontology is a lot of people bin it as just dinosaurs, right? But it's really the study of ancient life, and plants encompass ancient life, right? So if you're a paleontologist that focuses on plants, yeah, you might consider yourself a paleobotanist, and that is a title that you can have and go by. So yeah, that's 100% a real title.
It's
Yeah.
a real title, Chris.
Sweet.
And with that, we should probably say au revoir. No, I was kidding.
Oh man, I
man.
took one semester of French. I think that was French.
Very bad French, probably.
Oh
Oh,
gosh.
But yes, thanks so much for coming on. I mean, you and Chris can always just chit chat in the DMs.
yeah, no, I'm
Oh,
chill
don't
with
tempt me.
whatever. So.
Don't tempt him. Don't
Yeah.
tempt him, he said.
Like,
Oh,
like
okay. Yeah, save it for the content, right?
yeah.
Save it for
Oh,
the content. Chris,
But
this is becoming a Midwest goodbye with you.
I know. No, but I got ice cream calling my name right now for real.
Oh,
I'm
ice
hungry.
cream.
Yeah.
I'm
Jeez
sorry. What
Louise,
flavor?
you're so
What
late
flavor?
night ice cream,
What
huh?
flavor? Okay, so there is a regional flavor. That's the official ice cream of the Buffalo Sabres, called
Okay.
Let's Dough Buffalo. It's vanilla ice cream with mashed up like Oreo
Ooh,
like chunk. It's like Oreo mixed with chocolate fudge and it gets like chunky. And then it also has cookie dough mixed in.
that sounds
So
delicious.
yeah. Yeah.
It
Dude,
does sound
enjoy that, man.
delicious.
Heck yeah.
Delicious and full of gluten.
Can't wait to eat that gluten.
Yeah. Do you watch South Park? Yeah. At
Not too much
all?
anymore.
No. Okay. They had look up the South Park gluten episode.
Oh,
I think
I'm gonna
you'll
need to watch it,
enjoy
aren't
it.
I?
My
Yeah.
favorite South Park episode was the one where the internet stops working.
Nah, they're all so good, and it's like they're all so relevant.
Yeah,
That's what's so
yeah.
great about South Park.
It's true.
Um,
I haven't
so yeah,
watched it in forever either, but I'll look up
no.
this gluten episode.
Oh my god, it's hilarious. You have to. Yeah, look up the gluten episode. That's my homework for you guys.